Hello everybody. So this video is entitled Zero Respect for Hypergrowth. I want to talk about 4 distinct stocks that really are being mistreated by this crazy market. Absolutely mistreated in my view. So the nonsense continues, of course. The market is all about macro. It trades on the geopolitical events, and that's all it does right now. And of course, we had a pretty bad day until towards the end. The market spiked because oil went down, and then the market started dumping again. But anyways, the best companies were hurt the most. The elite companies of the top of the indexes, right? The top of the indices were hurt the most because of indices and basket buying and basket selling, and top companies get zero respect. And of course, some folks in my video yesterday, they were like, "Oh, I should rejoice. I should be happy about the crash." Well, I'm a little happy. Don't get me wrong, but we've had tons of macro crashes. We've had so many opportunities to buy the dip since the early spring of 2020. You may remember that. It'd be also nice to have normal periods. I'm talking about give me a random 6 months from the 2010s decade. Like, give me a normal market with like normal reaction for fundamentals. I understand there's dislocation, right? I totally get it, but we don't need 3 or 4 of those a year. Even though this year we had more than 3 or 4 major disruptions, right? It'd be nice for a little while for stocks to catch up to their fundamentals, and they are absolutely not trading up to their fundamentals. They have not caught up to their fundamentals. The markets continue to be pretty dire. NVDA, of course, if you look longer term, NVDA did run, right? So did HIMS, right? I'm going to talk about HIMS. So did Strategy. These companies are still multiple times X compared to where they were 5 years ago. But specifically focusing on the past year, roughly past 6 months, past year, look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA trading at 180. Do we really think NVIDIA should be staying in that range for so long, despite all of the successes that it's having right now? GTC, I'll talk about GTC in a sec. Same for Tesla. Do we really think Tesla should be trading below 400 right now? Right? It was trading below 400. Was it 4.5 or 5 years ago? So Tesla hasn't moved in 4 or 5 years, something like that. Really, do we really believe that when these companies are having all of the catalysts going for them under the hood, right? Tesla finally launching robotaxi, like that's what we've been waiting for 5 years, and the market is just asleep, entirely asleep. Let's talk about NVIDIA. NVIDIA, of course, is having GTC. GTC is an amazing event. Absolutely stunned by the presentation. 2-hour plus keynote from Jensen. I highly recommend that you watch it. But anyways, here's my valuation for NVIDIA. Makes no sense. EV over GP over RG is a 0.6. Rule of 40 is a 108. This stock is the cheapest in the Max 7. The cheapest stock in the Max 7. Furthermore, he casually mentioned for 2027 $1 trillion revenue opportunity. A trilly, as Gen Z would say. He's casually talking about they're going to sell $1 trillion of chips in 2027. The market is entirely asleep at the wheel. Just like last fall, you may remember, he was talking about $500 billion over 5 quarters. Same, the market entirely ignored it. This market has been entirely ignoring NVIDIA. I cannot understand why NVIDIA is so cheap. At some point, this stock will re-rate to the upside. We just need the geopolitical madness to stop and please give us like a stable, normal period of calm. Can we please have just a few months, maybe 6 months of calm? Wouldn't that be nice? But we're not getting that, and this stock, in my view, is way too cheap. Moving on to another stock, Tesla. I cannot count the catalysts anymore on Tesla. Like I said, they're finally ramping robotaxi. Robotaxi is ramping. Robotaxi is going to take over so much of a transportation world, and the stock is still trading down on what, the best of my ability I can tell, is a headline on a UBS delivery cut. That's the best of my ability. The stock is down because UBS cuts Tesla delivery estimate. We cut the delivery estimate, right? So this stock is still trading like it's an auto business, even though it's so much more than that. So much FUD, so much anti-Tesla FUD, low delivery narrative. There's always FSD FUD. I think there was another new one this morning, but there's always FSD fun. And you, just like for NVIDIA, you have Wall Street saying, too expensive, right? NVIDIA's too expensive. Tesla's too expensive, right? Yet they are forgetting that Tesla is, for this video, I'm going to call Tesla an industry eraser. I do not know how to price. I do not know how to value an industry eraser that is led by a master industry eraser, Elon Musk, a master industry eraser, right? How do you price a 1 in 200 years or maybe 1 in 500 year leader? Could I argue that Musk is a better inventor than Edison? Probably. I mean, even though Edison invented pretty bunch, like a lot of stuff, I would argue Musk is at his level, right? Gutenberg, Edison, this is the scale of Musk that we're talking about, in the process of destroying. But they don't know it yet. Most people don't agree with. At least you're gonna have people who don't agree with some of it. But Tesla is in the process of destroying, gas stations, right? Yeah. Don't forget. It doesn't take a drop of 90% of the ICE business for gas station to go haywire. No, it only takes a 20-30% drop in sales because they have debt. They have a bunch of debt. So you can create a vicious cycle by just removing 20% of a business. That's enough for gas stations to not be able to repay the debt, right? Repair shops is the same story. Very little repair needed in Tesla. Driving as a job, that's another industry that's getting destroyed. ICE cars, of course, eventually, industry in the process of getting destroyed. The energy grid it depends on how bullish you are on this, but of course the mega packs are disrupting a major part of the energy grid. These mega packs, they can literally mimic a natural gas. They mimic a natural gas. They get energy during the day. They release it at night, and they just mimic a natural gas. The taxi business, of course, that's a big debate disrupting that. Oh, labor, trying to disrupt labor, just labor, right? That's it with Optimus. That's all you're trying to do. And then, of course, Musk has side quests and, side kind of, validations, I guess, side successes. So, of course, the latest side quest is to try to disrupt Microsoft with macro hard, right? Another big side quest is to try to destroy data centers by sending chips into space. Of course, another side quest, very successful, disrupting NASA, disrupting the rocket industry. Of course, with Starlink, disrupting the cell phone industry, disrupting the internet business. And, of course, Elon Musk also, in my view, can be credited as one of the top people who disrupted AI, who disrupted intelligence via AI, right? Because let's never forget that Musk is a founder of OpenAI. 2015. Think about how early this was. He is a founder of OpenAI. So LLMs, you can trace them back partially to him, because OpenAI launched ChatGPT, which launched LLM, even though it was based on Google's work. But still, like all of you have the ultimate industry destroying company led by the industry eraser in chief, and the stock is trading at the same level as it was 5 years ago. Wall Street is entirely asleep. We just need the market to get back to normal. Moving on to HIMS and HERS. So, HIMS and HERS, of course, I believe it's a heavily disruptive company. I love HIMS and HERS very much. I think it's a great business. But I'm going to be much more practical in my analysis of HIMS and HERS today. So it's up a little bit, I guess more up towards the end of the day. It started red, of course, because HIMS is totally related to natural gas, right? That's why it started red. So HIMS has 100% link to natural gas. Anyways, if you look at HIMS, if you look at this stock, of course, the entire bear thesis was destroyed again. The entire bear thesis was destroyed again. The whole lawsuit FUD, the whole they're not going to be able to do GLP-1s anymore FUD, right? They partner with Novo dropped the lawsuit. That was literally the best outcome. The stock is sitting at $24. So the bears took down the stock from the 60s to the 15s, and the bear were once again entirely wrong. The thesis, there's nothing left of it. yet the stock barely recovered. Like it literally barely recovered. 24? Are you kidding me? It barely recovered. Barely. This stock was 50 to 70 bucks for most of 2025, and it was still cheap back then. And now we're back at 0.06 and change as far as EV over GP over RG goes. The rule of 40 is a 60. Makes absolutely no sense. And you have a company who actually the forward revenue guidance here, that should be increased because of a new partnership. This guidance does not include the Novo partnership. So that makes absolutely no sense. HIMS, of course, is down, 70%, 65%. Anyway, so many highly innovative small cap companies are down 60 to 80%. Duolingo, Figma, Klarna, you name it. Because that's the market we're in. It's absolute nonsense. And of course, under the hood, everything is fine. And HIMS, if you look at the numbers under the hood, everything is fine. It's great, actually. Oh, SoFi. I forgot about SoFi. SoFi also got their own minus 60% treatment. So many top stocks are just dumped by the market. And let me conclude with MSTR. And so the market was highly dysfunctional today. But look at that. Like, this is pretty crazy. Gold down 4%. Bitcoin only down 1%. So what are they doing? What is the market doing? Is the market putting cash in where? And I looked at bonds. No, bonds are also slightly down today. So are they just letting the cash sit in the bank, in a money market account? Like, what's going on? Nothing is catching a bid. The liquidity issue that I've complained about for maybe almost 6 months now, ever since October, that liquidity issue is still going on, but now it's affecting gold. So anyways, 2 days ago, we were rebouncing pretty nicely. Life was good. And you look at the fear and greed index. Unfortunately, we are back into the fear. We were trading in the 40s. We're now back into the fear category. And unfortunately, the geopolitics, which we keep having every month, we have something worse. It's not helping the adoption of Stretch. So unfortunately, or fortunately, if you're a holder of Stretch, but I guess slightly unfortunately, if you're a holder of Strategy, they're going to have to raise the yield by 0.25%, which should bring the yield to 12%, right? So that's absolutely amazing, which means that Saylor will force Stretch to trade at 100. A bit like when a stock does a buyback. You can force a stock to trade where it should trade. And of course, that's what MSTR is going to do. They're going to raise the dividend by another 25 basis points. And of course, the demand should come back. And if we don't have another major geopolitical event next month, we should be okay. Now, hopefully those rumors that I've read online about Trump possibly doubling down on Greenland and having new tariffs for Greenland coming up, for Europe because of Greenland coming up, hopefully we don't go there again, right? That would be the third time we go there. Hopefully we don't go there again, but that could be another dark gray swan on the horizon. Safe of that, safe from a stop in the escalation, in the Middle East. If we get that, I think MSTR is too cheap. I think IBIT's too cheap. Bitcoin's too cheap. Stretch is you could look at Stretch both ways. You could say it's too cheap at 99.50, or if it was trading at 100 or even 99.50, you could say the yield's too high, right? The Stretch yield is going to come down eventually. This makes absolutely no sense. Strategy, though, performing exactly as intended today. Strategy down about 1.5 times what IBIT is down. So Strategy is behaving exactly as intended today. I'm guessing there was not too much ATM today. So the craziness continues. Hopefully, craziness goes both ways, and so hopefully tomorrow we get a mad green. Because hopefully we don't get some bad news from the Middle East again. So anyways, this was not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.